What's happening? Welcome in, Pod Squad, to another episode of the show. I am graced and blessed with the presence of an in-person guest, which is we try to do as much as possible.
Yeah.
But it's Prince George. You don't always have a lot of options, you know. So we end up doing a lot of Zoom interviews. But this one's cool because in the flesh in the studio today is Jesse Cody, who I've never met before in the flesh
Until now.
Until now,
here we are. Yeah.
And now we're best friends.
Yeah.
No, but the reason why you're here, and we're going to get right into it right away, is like I've been watching you. I've been watching the company grow, man. This is really cool.
Yeah.
And funny enough, I definitely haven't told you this story. At least I don't think I have. Maybe I messaged you about this on LinkedIn or something.
Yeah.
When we started snow removal, did I tell you that I hired one of your employees?
No.
I didn't tell you the story?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No.
Well, it was weird. He was a younger guy. I truthfully can't even remember his name. But we were just starting snow removal. We had no idea what we were doing. Hiring shovelers like crazy.
Yeah.
And it was my brother was working with us at the time, and he hired a guy, and he's like, I work at Red Spade.
Oh, okay.
And we're like, who's Red Spade? Never heard of him. And he was like, oh, I'm there for a little bit, but I need more hours. We hire lots of like casual labor and stuff.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I heard of Red Spade Enterprises.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And that was where it started. And then I found you on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You're a LinkedIn machine.
We tried other ways of advertising the company, and you can spend a lot of dollars putting your name out there for just every Joe, Dick, and Harry to see. And honestly, it's not very targeted. And I had LinkedIn for years before I ever even posted or even put my name or my face on my profile or any of that stuff. And probably for over a year before I did anything with it.
Right.
And I'm not even sure why I originally signed up. It was to connect with some guy that said, I use LinkedIn or whatever, right? Sort of thing, right?
Yeah, so we all start.
Yeah. But it was good though. When you're trying to get to a target audience, and in my business, there's a lot of gatekeepers, and to get past the gatekeeper sometimes is the hardest step. And one day I just started farting around on LinkedIn, and I had already been doing my office reviews videos just on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
And so I started posting on there, and got some decent traction out of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Okay, well, I'm going to ask you more about that later.
Okay.
So let's start at the beginning. Well, let's start at the very beginning. You're a Prince George guy, born and raised?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, so you've been here forever?
Small stint away, but yeah.
Usually people do a small stint.
Yeah. There was a girl involved, didn't happen. Yeah.
Fair enough. You're a happily married guy now.
I am, yes.
2 kids.
Yeah, and she's from here.
That's cool. Very good. So, what did you do out of high school? Like, you start working for yourself right away?
No, actually, I've done just about everything. Honestly,
Yeah.
that's a longer story. That's a whole nother podcast. But I did everything from glasswork. I was an apprentice glazier.
I'm a glass guy. So
All right,
I'm
there
so
you go.
excited.
Yeah. I was an apprentice glazier for years. I actually really loved it, and I always miss it.
Yeah.
I did work experience in high school at Speedy Glass here in town, and just sort of totally fell in love with that. And I always get the itch to be back in the industry, actually. But
Same.
did that, and then I was inside sales and outside sales for a bunch of different companies here in town. And oddly enough, that's sort of had a lot of crossover into my business life, because I made relationships with people at mills and mines and so on that were decision makers then. And then when it came time to start my business, I kind of already knew a lot of the industry.
Yeah.
You kind of learn once you get involved that you realize you know so much that you don't know, but you think you know lots, right? So at the time, I still knew a lot of different people, but it's very cyclical, so it's on to different people now, right?
100%. So when you start this, so you did a whole bunch of things, but like you started this business what year?
2014.
2014.
Yeah. So
And it was just you.
me and my wife. Yeah.
You and your wife went in
Yeah.
together.
Well, she's in the background, or was in the background. Now she's actually working in her office. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
See, you grow and you need more help, right?
Yeah.
Start inside. Yeah.
Yeah.
Start in the family. So in a nutshell, like Red Spade, what I see is a ton of logistics and hauling and great, like all over Western Canada is what it looks like.
we've been all the way to New Brunswick. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
So you're hauling. What is the business exactly like?
Well, it's morphed a few different times. So when we first started, I was actually an owner operator working for another local company here in town.
Yeah.
Originally, our plan was to buy into their company and be a partner. And there's a sort of internal thing. He didn't tell the wife that this plan was going on, and I was going to be a partner. I was going to buy in. So last minute, it morphed to me being an owner operator for them instead. And I wasn't happy where I was working at the time. I liked what I was doing. I liked my customers, but the vision for the company at the time that I was working for, and maybe the staff that I was working with, it wasn't a good fit.
Right.
And a lot of that was probably on me. I'm neurodivergent, so it's pretty tough to toe that company line, drink the Kool-Aid sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
I like to work harder, put in more hours, a lot more effort, and a lot of those types of settings that doesn't fit well, right? So
No doubt.
yeah.
So we're not in a big market, you and I. There's like 80,000 people here, so
Yeah.
don't name names. But I want to ask you about what you just said though about like you saw what their vision was and it didn't really align with what you wanted. Like what exactly was it? Like you wanted to go and grow, or
Yeah.
and their business was a little more like
I wanted zero leash. I wanted a giver. I wanted
yeah,
straight,
just like
hair
you
straight
would.
back.
Were you in sales?
I was inside sales,
Yeah.
and actually, oddly enough, at the time where I had applied, they hired me on with the intention of me taking over for the manager. He was kind of aging out. He was looking at retirement, and they need someone that was going to look after the branch. And I was always more on the sales side. For me, whenever there's an opportunity, I was the guy that would jump on it like right now and find the solution and back it all up and organize it, get it to like whatever customer had a problem, I was the guy that fixed it. And at the end of the day, you go home and you feel good about your day, was just I fixed that guy's problem. Like I had some sort of big issue and he was going to get crap from his bosses and all these things went, down the drain on him out of nowhere, and he called me. And I was that guy who could solve the problem, right? And I did that a lot. And what I found was it was, I never needed a pat on the back from the company I worked for. I just wanted, I guess, enough respect to be, that guy's, what that guy does for our business is this, and he fixes problems for our customers, and he's valued.
Yeah.
I never felt that.
God.
Always felt like, the black sheep. I was never, I never fit in. And now I look at it now and I realize that I have a sort of a different mindset that doesn't always fit in with, the status quo, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think it's a bit of a business mindset. Like I think a lot of us have that is you're always hungry, right?
Yeah.
And there's no satisfaction and by the end of the day, like that, what's tomorrow? You're always looking at, I want more. What's tomorrow going to happen, right?
Yeah.
So, it's always I've always felt, and I've always I was the guy that stayed late. If I had anything that wasn't completed, rather than wait till tomorrow, no, I stayed. I stayed as long as I needed to get it all done today. Tomorrow, I overloaded my plate again, so I'd stay late again. I'd come in on weekends, whatever. All time that wasn't built back to the company, I never got paid for it. But my idea at the time was I was on a career path and I was going for it, right? Like there was a few opportunities I had where I applied for a job where I knew I'd be really good at it because I came with really good networking and all that sort of stuff. And someone straight out of university with a piece of paper that said who they were took the job from me. I had no background and no experience or whatever, right?
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. It happened all the time. So I was like, okay, well, I'm in this business, I'm in this company, and there's places where I can grow in this company. The only way I'm going to do it is by work ethic.
Yeah.
Instead, it actually just bit me in the butt, right?
Isn't that crazy? So now you run a business, right? And like
Yeah.
I run a business with employees, and like, could you? Well, maybe you have that person now, but can you imagine if you found that person today? Like you and I, we'd never let those people go.
No.
You'd be nuts.
No.
Dude.
Yeah, because the amount of that can benefit your company, and not only that, but you have the opportunity to benefit that person.
Yeah.
Because you can see it. If you're that kind of person and you can spot that, you can see the value in it, right? The people that I worked for were, the 9 to 5, 5 o'clock, I don't work here anymore. Even though the guy's the manager of the business, right? The 5 o'clock comes down, my phone doesn't answer, right? And that's how that manager managed that business, and previous managers of mine were similar like that, right? I've never been like that. My phone's always on. I'm always available.
Yeah.
I'm always wanting to grow, right?
100%.
And I think they basically got sat in a comfortable spot. Business runs, and no one's down my throat about anything, so
Yeah.
we'll just do the same thing every single day until they retire or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I was just never that guy.
Dude, I get it, man. So when I was in the glass industry in
Yeah.
Fort St. John, I was at a glass shop that was like, dude, it was my forever company,
Yeah.
like family business. And in their case, like they actually wanted to grow the business. They were always looking at unique things, going to different markets and stuff.
Yeah.
But like same thing, like so they had a vision of growth, which I loved. But like, yeah, I was that guy too. I'm like, remember I was just telling you, it was like the day before, you know, I would go to a job, I'd make sure I'd get my work order the day before, because
Yeah.
if it was a product on a you know, a steel door or something that
Yeah.
I didn't know how to install, well, I'm not going to show up to the job site the next day and look like an idiot.
Yeah.
So I would spend the night before, like literally pillow
Preparing.
reading, like the most boring installation manuals of
Yeah,
door
yeah.
hardware, because like I wanted to get it.
Yeah.
And same thing, like, no, I'm going to be here for a long time, so like I'm going to make sure, like, and you know, in my case, I actually wanted to grow and do things really, really fast, and like, you know, from a technology standpoint, you know, just little things even in the field I noticed, I'm like, man, we could be doing this better.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just got impatient, so I went out on my own.
Yeah.
Did my own thing. Yeah. So it's funny when you say like the vision of a company is something that I think and talk about a lot. Like, so with your company now, like what does it look like now? Like, you know, employee wise, I know you're driving all over, so you obviously got a lot of assets and equipment now.
Yeah. We actually diversified a little bit this last year for the first time ever. We had long established routes that I built years and years ago, and we were maintaining them. We ended up finding some owner operators. A couple of reasons. One, we were just looking at the amount of kilometers that we put down with our vehicles is pretty tough to keep up with them. And when you're trying to get other business and all your assets are tied to those routes that you've done, now you can't go after new stuff.
Without a big investment, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. In our industry, especially being in this market, our market, like, we're compared a lot with the other small couriers, and I never really wanted to be lumped in that segment. We're in this space, but we always wanted to be more compared to the bigger LTL carriers, and I've always tried to be. You look at some of the other guys going down the road, and you know, they're beating down the highway just like we are, and there's a certain perception in industry of that group of small box couriers, sort of like get yourself across town. I never wanted to be part of that. We always wanted to be on the more professional side. You know, I always wanted to have cleaner vehicles and a nicer image and all that stuff. It's really hard to not get lumped in that same category, right? And nothing against those guys; they do a good job,
100%.
but it's just I always wanted to grow above all that, like ahead of it, and grow bigger. And it's tough. Like, I think when you're in that position, the industry puts you where they want to put you, regardless of what you want to do. Like, it kind of, so if all of our vehicles tied up in those main routes that we do, there's not really a lot of big shiny contracts that come up to move into some other thing where you go buy a brand new truck and you have the brand new logo on the side. That kind of doesn't, it's sort of like a big leap ahead
Right.
from where we were, right?
Yeah.
So we spent a long time trying to build a certain image, build a certain reputation, and I think we did a good job at it. I think we have differentiated ourselves a little bit from the certain group, but we're also not a big LTL carrier like, you know, Bandstra or Van Cam, or we're not those guys, but we're also not those other guys. So
Totally.
somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
And we really focus on a few niche markets that both sides didn't really want to handle. And, you know, we do a lot of off-road stuff. We do a lot of remote deliveries, refrigerated deliveries, just things that both sides didn't do very well. we found our spot in the middle,
Yeah.
and it's worked really well. Just the difference in industry. The industry keeps changing.
Right.
So now we're more adapting into heavy hauling and, highway tractors and that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Well, I gotta ask you about that. Like, I don't, on the surface, I don't envy you in the industry just because, I mean, pavement has been around for forever. Like,
Yeah.
since the Romans were putting bricks in the road. But there is a lot of innovation happening in our industry in the sense of like equipment and technologies, and automation is a big one.
Yeah.
Like, dude, there's automated like machines that seal cracks in the roads now. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Drones that take assessments. So there's a lot. When I go to these pavement shows, I see a lot of like, especially on the equipment side. But like, I can't imagine there's as much in logistics and hauling. So like, what's the thing that you're looking at? Like, is there something you're trying to like break into to like keep the growth going?
Yeah. I mean, part of it, like I said, perception of our company in industry is we never wanted to be that small box courier, but we were kind of placed there by this, just general society. That's where people figured we fit in, right?
Right.
Right now, it's now trying to change that conversation about our company that, we're a heavy hauler. We can do the same stuff that these other guys do, hauling, 117,000-pound machine down the highway. They don't look at Red Spade that's, we're not the first call for low bedding, but we can do it and we do it really well. We haven't had any issues. We've hauled hundreds of machines at this point, and all on time, all on budget, without any kind of mistake. And it just takes time to build a different name for yourself, so people realize that, hey, you guys do that too. And then, we've got yard space, we've got land dock, we have a warehouse, we do all these other things that people don't think of us for. And until they do, like we got a call today. There's a company that's coming from Manitoba with a full tractor trailer unit. He's coming here with a couple of big pieces of pipe on his trailer, and they belong somewhere else, but he needs to do a load in town to in town. So they came to us just to offload
Just
it.
to drop it off?
Just put it in a yard for a couple hours while he goes and does this other load and come back and put it back on.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, and that's, we're in that industry to fill in all those little gaps along the way. And that's just a small thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And it has nothing to do with any of our other equipment, but it's like someone was able to find us and find that information that we could do that, we could cross dock. And so they call us up and, sure, yeah, we'll do that, no problem.
You know what's crazy? It's the same stuff you were doing at your job, like
Yeah.
however many years ago, just finding the solution for people.
And that's all it is, right?
What a concept, solution.
And the more you do that, the more you build a name that, people stop calling, the 6 other places they used to call. They can call one guy or one company, and we can do all those different things, right?
Dude, that's so good. And even if you couldn't, I'm going to take a stab and say that you're not going to mess up a customer trying something crazy. Right?
No.
You're going to point them in the right direction.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So in my industry, like this, this podcast, we end up bringing all sorts of people on, like people who don't do anything on pavement except drive on it.
Yeah,
And there's so many business owners.
we just add more rubber to it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which is good. Yeah, break the roads down so we can fix them more.
That's right.
Yeah, so many people in the industry who just, they start out striping and they get one call to do some complicated asphalt thing, and they're like, "Oh, we'll do that for sure," and they trip over themselves to do it.
Yeah.
But like sometimes the answer is to not do it, right?
Yeah.
Or in that
Connect
example,
the dots, right?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Man, this is cool. So, I'm going to ask you about the LinkedIn thing.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
So I get it. Like you what you were saying about the perception, right?
Yeah.
And for what it's worth, because like I literally haven't met you until you showed up here today, just back and forth on LinkedIn with you. Like my perception of Red Spade is not the little guy, and I think that's because of, like, I can actually vividly remember a couple of your videos where you're like literally on the road, stopped somewhere, and you're like, "This is what we're hauling today."
Yeah.
And it's like a big gnarly thing.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, so this isn't like, it's not like little Red Spade, like little shovel. This is actually, we're moving stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why LinkedIn? Like what? Are you nervous about posting on there? I think that's what holds a lot of people back.
I got a good answer for that, actually.
I'm excited because I love me some LinkedIn. So if you got a good answer,
So, like, as far as advertising and putting yourself out there, especially when, as a business owner, I'm putting my face in front of the name of the company, so people associate me as Red Spade, because I'm the guy in the video all the time. That's a lot of people would find that to be really scary or be very nervous about it. What's really funny is in high school I was really introverted. I got involved with a multi-level marketing company. Long time, I won't say the name of it, but
I was wondering if you were good.
they're gone now anyways.
Fair enough.
But part of their training program was how to cold call and how to break out of your shell, to have a conversation. And there's the training program is sort of what I took away from that. There was no success in the multi-level marketing business itself. There was for other people, not for myself. But I guess what came out of that was I'm able to talk about the things that I have a passion in. And if I believe in it, I can sit down and talk with anybody, and some random person on the street that I know has nothing to do with what I'm interested in, I can still talk about it, right? And it doesn't make me nervous about it. And you'll notice I have no notes. I don't bring notes. It's always off the cuff. Yeah. I find that you're more genuine if you're really talking about the things you care about. So when I go and make a video like that, it started off actually, I think the first one I did, I was going to the Yukon. It was the first time I'd ever been to the Yukon.
You remember the video?
Yeah. Because it was a load of rigid foam. It was on the back of a trailer, and I had to climb up on top of the rigid foam, and I was like, whatever, 12 feet in the air, looking at this amazing valley. And I took this video, and I don't know where Office View Reviews, like the comment or whatever the name came from. It just came off the tongue sort of thing.
Yeah. But
I just looked at it and went, like, we go on these cool trips and we go all over the place. And if you're my customer, you don't care. You just want the product to arrive so you can do your job, right? But at the end of the day, look where your product, like, look how it got there, and look at the land that it crossed to get there. Some of us get to work in some most amazing sites in this province or in the Yukon or Alberta, wherever, right? Mm-hmm. Recently, I've been posting a couple of pictures beside a bridge in Saskatchewan, and like, I would never have seen that bridge. I would never have seen those other places. In my personal life, I don't know if I'd ever been able to go to the Yukon and see those places if it wasn't for my customers. So part of it was thanking customers for giving me that opportunity. I'm away from my family, so you're missing your family. You want to be at home, but at the same time you want to build a business and you want to grow, and so you look at it and go, well, this is the beauty in my job, and this is what keeps me sane while I'm away from the things I care about. And at the same time, thank you for giving me something to take my mind off the fact that I'm not home all the time, right? So the videos kind of came fairly natural that way. And then I guess building our company, like the one thing that about being nervous and stuff about doing the videos is I actually put a post on LinkedIn recently about being neurodivergent.
No. Yeah. I thought you were going to say being nervous. I was going to say I missed that.
No,
I missed that one too.
Neurodivergent, yeah.
Okay.
So it's a big deal for me. And my son is neurodivergent. We're pretty sure my daughter is as well, but my son is definitely, he struggles with ADHD and a few other, ailments in that through the spectrum, right? 100%. And the way he thinks and stuff, I can see how I didn't realize growing up that the way I thought about the world was different than other people. I just thought I was different, right? Sure. You don't realize what it is until you get older and you can be retrospective, right? Mm. And now you go back and you can see it, and now I see it in my son. And I posted about that, and I put a open conversation, open question, like, hey, let's talk about this. Let's stop making it taboo. Let's put it out there. I bet you a lot of people are. And a lot of people started responding, going, yeah, that's me too. That's me too. That's me too. I'm over here on the spectrum. I'm over there on the spectrum. And, this other person's like, I'm fully autistic. And you'd never know. Yeah. You'd never know. A lot of the people you talk to in a day are somewhere on the spectrum, and you'd have no idea. And maybe some person you think is a little bit different, a little bit odd, or whatever, right? And then when you actually talk to them, you realize, oh, well, they're actually thinking at like 1,000 miles a second all day long, and that's why they're not as, I guess, so like everybody else as far as communicating, right?
Yeah.
They're just a little bit different.
Yeah.
And that's probably what it is. There's somewhere on spectrum. And so posting that out there on my LinkedIn for everybody to see it, it's kind of like throwing a heart on the sleeve. Like here's the thing that may be viewed as disability or like a negative. I'm just going to tell everybody. Mm-hmm. So you can either choose to accept it or you can be supportive of it, or you can be negative about it, whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's out there now.
Yeah.
So I can't take it back. It's there.
Yeah.
Or whatever, right? And a lot of people came on and messaged and you started realizing that there's a lot of people in that group,
Yeah.
right? And then as they're commenting, they're putting themselves out there. So whoever was nervous about it,
Yeah.
we can all just wipe that away because we've made it public and we can all talk about it now, right? So
100%, man.
yeah.
Well, I was traveling a few days ago, so if you posted it recently, that's probably why, because I'm on LinkedIn all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
I love it. Man, that's good stuff. I think, well, I definitely won't name names, but I'll tell you something kind
Okay.
of funny.
Oh, yeah.
So, I love people. So, yeah, I love networking, especially locally if there's things happening. Like, I try to be there. So I'm in one really small networking group. We only meet once a month, but it's ran by someone I respect tremendously. She's super smart.
Yeah.
And there was only 5 of us there. It was about a month ago. We were talking about LinkedIn. Because I feel like Jesse, I'm the odd guy out in the group. I'm wearing a hoodie, and these guys are all super professional engineers, smart people.
Yeah.
But anyways, I don't care. I can fake that. So I'm in the room, and I'm mostly just trying to listen, right? And I don't really have a ton of value to add. But the topic of social media came up,
Yeah.
and I get really, how you said you could talk to anybody about anything.
Yeah.
To me, that's social media and LinkedIn specifically.
Yeah.
Man, it's such a great way for people, especially starting a business in my industry and yours. Man, to get your name out there. But anyways, the story I wanted to tell you was she said something kind of funny. It was akin. I'm going to butcher it, but it was akin to something like, I don't really like it when people post their personal stuff on LinkedIn because LinkedIn is for business. And I was like, no, we're going to talk about this because what you just said and what you posted, that's the thing that like people buy people. It's one of my favorite expressions, right?
Yeah.
So when you phone Red Spade, maybe it's you answering the phone, maybe it's not, but you know what the business is all about and you know what the face is because the guy put himself out there, right?
Yeah.
It kills me that people in my industry, so you people listening out there, put yourself out there, man. Yeah. And don't do it you have to go crazy and post every personal thing ever,
No.
but you got to tell people this is who I am, what I do.
You try to keep your dirty laundry off of it.
Try to. The illegal stuff.
Oh, yeah. I was just at a networking event last night, and we were talking to a couple of people, and I said, you can really spot the different types of companies because you can see the really corporate companies, they toe the corporate line, and they have someone hired to post all their stuff, and it's really... It's super professional, and there's no personality to it whatsoever. There's nothing human about it, and even if they ever do have a person, it's like a hired actor. They're not the person, right? And then you kind of have somewhere in the middle where you got, or sort of the mom and pops like myself, where someone's posting themselves, and you can kind of tell, they're not that big. They're kind of small. You realize it's just sort of that person running the business or whatever. And then there's sort of a middle ground where there's a fairly organized group, but there's not really a presence either way. And you can kind of spot that a little bit. But I guess it depends on how a company or an owner or whoever decides to market themselves, right?
Yeah.
And I've always felt that a company that wants to put themselves in the face of their company and talk about it and show that they care about it, it just brings a different value to me, and you realize that that's a local business run by a local person. They're actively involved in their business. They're not sitting in the Bahamas, collecting a paycheck or whatever, right?
Not yet, man.
Yeah. Someday.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I wish it's, whether it's posting something very personal, like neurodivergence, or even sometimes when you post something in business that isn't going well. Yeah. Actually, we were just talking again, before we hit record. What's our best performing videos? It's I screwed up this job. Literally our best on this channel, on our YouTube, like, yeah, here's a $3,500 mistake to avoid. People are like, yep. And I think when you post on LinkedIn in particular, because it's not a company page, it's you,
Yeah.
right? It kind of gives permission to kind of, like in your case, right? Like almost jump on board and be like, oh yeah, I'm not the only one who's like, in your case, a neurodivergent person. I'm not the only one who made it a terrible business decision. And it kind of gives other people permission, right? I like that because I think it builds, I guess community is the easy word, but it builds like, giving people permission of like, hey, we ain't perfect either.
No, well, we all make
I
mistakes.
hate that about social media.
Yeah.
You only see the good stuff a lot, right?
Well, you see a lot of people that are faking it, right?
Oh man, the Bahamas guys.
Yeah.
Probably sitting on a mountain of debt.
Yeah. The only thing they ever send is the beautiful picture from someone else taking the picture of us. You know, in these happy times, the sunny, you know, sun on their face and beautiful day and a drink in their hand or whatever. Like, man, all you do is play golf and like sitting on the beach. Like,
It's not that interesting.
when do you get work done?
Yeah. No, I like the work part. Well, speaking of the work part, where's you said you're a growth-minded person, right?
Yeah.
What you were saying about your old job really resonated with me too. I was like, yeah, like just trying to go above and beyond, find ways. What's the plan for Red Spade?
Right now, we're sort of in transition. I hate that word because it can mean lots of different things, right? And as far as I'm concerned, in our business, transition is always growth. So for us, we really started moving last year into heavy hauling of different sorts.
Mm-hmm.
We do a lot of different things in heavy haul, lots. And I find that a lot of companies are sort of pigeonholed into like they're a line haul company, they tow other people's trailers, or this company over here is just a low bed company, or this company is just a deck company. We do all those different things.
Mm-hmm.
And we're for hire for whatever's needed. So for us, going into this year, I would really like to, I'd like to get out of the seat.
Mm-hmm.
I like being in the seat, I like driving the trucks.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. And for me, learning new things and learning new parts of the industry are really big. And I always do whatever it is first. So if I'm going to hire someone and I'm, going to put them on whatever job, I know what to expect. I've been there. I've done it. I know what the bad things are. I know what the good things are. I know how hard it is. I know you're going to get your boots muddy and, you're going to be out in the rain or the snow or whatever. I did it.
Yeah.
And I'm very hands-on. So I've been through all that part now over the last year. Going into this year, I would think that I'll probably still be in the seat through spring breakup.
Yeah.
And hopefully by coming out of breakup, I'll be able to get out of the seat and have employees in those seats and be able to continue building it throughout the year. The way I think I'm pretty good at building business.
Yeah.
And that's where I really enjoy. It's been necessary for me to be in the seat.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like I said, learning that whole segment and doing it hands-on.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be able to tell an employee, hey, go do this other thing, and it's a pretty complicated, task or whatever, and I've never done it before.
And they call you and
Good
you're
luck.
like, well, you'll figure it out.
I'm like, yeah, you know more than I do about it, right?
Yeah.
And I don't like being in that position. I don't think it's right as an employer. Once you get big enough, you get so big that you have to be hiring people that are the professionals in whatever task,
Sure.
whatever. We're just not that big.
Yeah.
So at our level, I think it's important that I have a full understanding in and out of what our staff are expected to do. So when I go and assign work to them, I know every bit of it.
Yeah.
And part of it is also like you can't fib. Like I've done it. And, well, that doesn't take 8 hours because I can do it in 4, right? Like sort of thing, right? But at the same time, like if some guy is on a job and he's telling you, hey, there's these safety aspects of it, or I can go, oh yeah, I know. Okay, so this is how we do it. Make sure everybody's safe.
Yeah.
Because I did it myself, right?
Bingo.
Yeah.
Man, very exciting. Well, I hope got a lot of pavement folk who listen to this.
Yeah.
I hope somebody heard something you said and goes, man, that made sense to me. Yeah, whether it's LinkedIn or growth. Yeah. And I'm rooting for you. Keep up the content on LinkedIn. It's
Appreciate it.
awesome.
Yeah.
I wish more people locally here.
Yeah.
We're involved in it.
I think because Prince George is still sort of, it still has that mill mentality, redneck kind of mentality of
100%.
people. They're like LinkedIn. I think my view of it when I first heard about it was for, white collar professionals, and then people are trying to be CEOs. That they use that to connect with each other. It's not for us guys to get our hands dirty, right?
Sure.
Until I started, floating around on it and seeing who's on it, and starting to build a network. And it's honestly been the strongest advertising tool that I've ever used.
Yeah.
I use this story quite a bit. There was a mill company that we deal with, and we dealt with every one of their locations. I think they got 7 locations, BC, Alberta, and probably more coming out. They had 7 locations, and all of them used us except for one in Williams Lake. And we had all their critical spare product in our warehouse. So whenever they needed that stuff, they called us. We picked it off our own shelves. We picked and packed all the product, put it together, and we knew the name of the product. We knew the weight of it all. We had all the SKU numbers, and we organized all that. We did that. Yeah, we put all that together, and I remember calling down to their mill in Williams Lake, and I got whoever answered the phone, and it might have been secretary or whatever. It was whoever generally answered the phone.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, look, I'm Jesse from Red Spade, and we deal with all your other locations. Can I speak to the manager there? I'd like to, let him know what we do. And on the other end of the phone, I get, well, what do you do? And I go, well, this is what we do. Well, this is kind of my spiel, but kind of saving it for the guy, right?
Yeah.
For the manager, 100%. Right? And so I went through my spiel, and they go, well, we deal with lots of companies like you. I don't think we really need you. And I was like, well, but all your other mills use us, and I know all your product in and out. We're available 24/7. Like, we really have a lot of value to all these other locations. I'm sure that we could bring the same value to you guys. Like, can I just talk to the manager, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we really need to work with you guys. Click.
No way.
Hung up on me. Swear to God. So
I would have drove over there, man. I would have showed up and be like...
I was so frustrated, right? And I go like, what is going on? All the other locations work with us very, very well.
Yeah.
And come about 6 months later, the Williams Lake location had some sort of issue. They needed a hot shot, and someone that they talked to told them to call us. So we get the call. It's got to go down to Williams Lake. I'm doing it myself. I'm gonna go down there, and I'm gonna get somebody's phone number of whoever is in charge of the stuff, so they know to use us in the future. And we went down there. Everything went off without a hitch, and we passed some phone numbers, and we did a couple more calls, and eventually, after a while, the maintenance superintendent there that I had been dealing with, he's like, how come you've never called on us before?
Just on like
I was like,
wall.
Gatekeepers are the hardest thing in the industry. And when you're trying to build a business and you're trying to provide value to new customers or even existing customers, but you're trying to build with them, you just, sometimes you come across the person is just the wrong person. And whether they think that they're the right person to stop you, or whether maybe they just have an attitude about something, they think that they know more than they know, whatever it is, right? Gatekeepers are definitely the hardest, and I've come across gatekeepers a lot in industry, and a lot of my professional career, even before I owned my business, of being in inside sales, outside sales. It's one of those pain in the butt realities about trying to sell anything, whether it's selling your services as a company or working for another company. So once I got on LinkedIn, the big thing that I noticed is I can now find the person.
Yep.
Or
they find you.
Or they find you, because they've been looking for you this whole time, but that gatekeeper's also been keeping you from them, just like keeping you the other way around, right? So they don't even know that you exist.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I'm like, well, I've been calling on you for months. Like, we've been here this whole time. We could have helped you the whole time, right?
100%.
And the guy's like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I've been pulling my hair out for 6 months on this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that person at the front's probably like patting themselves on the back and, yeah, I did a great job. I
Yeah.
turned that guy away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes that is the answer to protect your manager's time, but
Yeah.
yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah.
Man, I'm glad you shared that. Yeah, I think LinkedIn is so underrated. You know, if people listen to this show who are starting line striping companies or asphalt repair companies, like the people you want to talk to are on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
They might not be clicking the like button on your stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever get that. I have people who are like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I love your stuff." I'm like, I had no idea you were even on LinkedIn. You
Yeah.
never engaged with my stuff. The people you want to do business with are watching.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's why I grabbed you in here. We came for a full circle because like
Yeah.
I see your stuff. I'm like, man, this guy's he's on.
You guys are busy on there too, though,
Oh,
right? And
I
then
dabble.
yeah.
I dabble.
dabble a little
I
bit.
dabble.
Yeah.
No, I love LinkedIn. I really, really do. I just think there's so many eyeballs on it. Not a lot of people posting,
Yeah.
right? For whatever reason, maybe they're just
Busy
fear-
or whatever. Right?
busy, fear of judgment. I don't know what to write.
Yeah.
But so yeah, if you're listening to this and you want to get on LinkedIn, go follow Jesse Cody.
There you go.
JESSE.
CODY. Yeah.
That's it. You can check out Red Spade, check out all this stuff. Thanks for coming in, man. This has
Thank you.
been awesome. Yeah, and we're gonna run it back sometime
Yeah.
after you grow the company. Well, we're gonna do this again. Maybe we won't be in this room, but we'll do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for coming by, man. This
Thanks.
is awesome.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Is there anything you want to plug? Or
Oh, thank you. Good call.
Yeah.
send people to
Where
your
we
website?
well, besides LinkedIn, where do people find you?
We're at redspade.ca. You can find us on there. We also have Facebook presence as well. A little less active on Facebook than I used to be. You kind of find the friends of the friends and the family members are the ones that like on there more than the general customers and so on, right? But,
Bingo.
yeah, and then if you need any kind of hauling, Prince George area, anywhere in northern BC, Western Canada, we're the guys.
Or if you need to lay down some pipe for a couple hours, then you're like, where am I going to put this pipe?
Ah,
Call Jesse.
there you go.
Thanks for reminding me, Matt.
Yes.
That's why you're here, man. You're the man. All right. Thanks for coming by, man.
Yeah, thanks.